Hello there, Arian. How are
What's
you, my
up?
friend? How are
I could be
you?
better. I could be a lot better. Um, yeah, that's that game. I think it's the manner we lost. I think first of all, first and foremost, I think the biggest for me that's a foul every day of the week.
Oh yeah,
Every day of the week.
yeah.
Every day of the week.
He's
That was
backed into him,
grand
hasn't
larceny.
he? He's backed
That's
into him, hasn't
grand
he?
larceny. He waited for Vicario to jump, and he backed into him, completely losing his balance. That's a foul every day of the week,
Yeah.
every single day of the week. And if the inverse of that, we've seen it be given. The only time I can recall right now recently where it was not given was last week, Luton versus Burnley, and that was lauded as a horrible decision. People were up in arms about that. It's another bad decision. So some people I was talking to, oh, well, it happened to Luton. Yeah, because it was a bad decision. People called that a bad decision too. Even the Luton players didn't celebrate when they scored that goal. Um, it was a foul, just plain and simple. Vicario's completely off balance. He has Ruben Diaz, who's about twice his body weight, backing into him as soon as he jumps. He was doing it all game. City had
Coming
about
into him
20
like that.
fouls that
Yeah.
entire game. It was the entire game, start to finish, was horribly officiated, and it culminates in that. Unsurprisingly for me, at this point in the season, I'm used to it. They gave him the sympathy goal because how little they scored at our stadium. That was what that was, plain and simple. But performance-wise, I can't sit out there and say we deserve to win because that's not what I'm trying to say. But I just don't think that
Yeah.
we deserve to lose. City were not great either. At the end of the day, I don't think they were. I don't think they were much better than us. That's kind of what it was. I think 0-0 was about as fair of a score we can get because they did have that one very big chance when Højbjerg gifted it to them, De Bruyne, and then Van de Ven bailed us out kind of and put pressure on De Bruyne to miss. But besides that, they did not really have anything either, just as much as we didn't. So I just don't think. I think 0-0 was what the game was calling for, is what it deserved, and we were completely robbed of that replay. That's what happened.
Arian, I want to know if we can you hear me, Arian?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I just want to know, Arian, do you think that if we had our star players, your SARS, your Madisons fit and healthy, your Sonnies, do we beat that City side that he put out?
100%. I mean, the
Yeah.
half chances that we had today that we could, some from outside the box, just there was some little bits. If Sun was in here, specifically Sun, I know Sar would have
Mm,
improved us. I know Madison fully fit would have improved us. Bissouma
yeah.
even could have done some in this game, but I think Sun was the missing piece in this game. In the front three, there was really only a couple moments where they did anything, and those couple moments, and I think Richarlison worked exceptionally hard today. I don't want to knock on him at all, but Son is a different kind of player to Richarlison, and he fits
Mhm.
this sort of game much more than Richarlison does. I think Richarlison out wide with Son in the middle would have been a lot better for this game, and Son would have definitely bagged a goal for us. What is that? 6 years now where we haven't won a game without Kane or Son. Um, you know, it it's one of those things that we have to get past. We have to kind of have our other players step up, and Son, just what he brings, and especially what he brings against Man City historically, we were missing that today. Absolutely. So yeah, I think Son was really kind of the missing piece. I think the curse that City have had all this season, it's been Son. It's always Son who kind of comes out with a goal against Man City some way somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree with you more, Ariane. It's just so frustrating. It's really a punch in the gut, isn't it? It's a
Oh yeah,
dodgy goal, like you said. It's a dodgy goal that as soon as I saw it the second time, I said to Josh, "Surely that's getting ruled out.
yeah,
Anywhere else on the pitch, that's a foul."
yeah.
And it wasn't given. Very very frustrating. My biggest issue with the performance, Ariane, and I want to know what are your thoughts on the matter. The fact that we didn't even have a shot on target, or that we weren't clinical in that final third. The final ball over the top wasn't there. The unlocking of the City defense wasn't there. Um, it's just, what can we do to try and get past a team like that? What were we lacking tonight? What was the way that we could have beaten this City side?
I think we actually did have a shot on target, but
Did
we
we?
just
Okay, I must have missed it. There,
it's
there,
out of
there.
touch.
I must have
Um,
missed it, Arian.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
Brennan one-on-one with Ortega. It was a shot on
Oh,
target,
I didn't
but
even. I wouldn't have even counted that. That was like a yeah, little chip where he
naked
tried to
over.
chip him.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
outside of that, look, the performance attacking wise just wasn't there. What I think kind of killed us. And what City were doing exceptionally well, to their credit. Defensively, they were incredible. We were offensively inept because the way we attack is basically in kind of Madison's place right now is Kulusevski. You have this creative kind of free man. He can kind of go wherever he wants. He kind of drifts. And our fullbacks basically take up like a attacking midfielder role. But what City were doing so well is they were kind of crowding the midfield, forcing our fullbacks to kind of go deep centrally, and our wingers have to track back and act as fullbacks, and we had absolutely no attacking width. Absolutely no attacking width. And by the time we tried to play out of it, their press was completely on us. Kulu was double teamed the entire game. We had no outball. The only outball we had was Brennan Johnson, who everyone's been hating on. And as soon as he went off, we created absolutely nothing. We created even less. So a lot of people were kind of dogging on Johnson because his final ball was poor. That's the reality. His final ball was poor, but he was the only one getting in a position to hit a final ball. And he was the only outball we had. He had the pace, he had the intelligence, he just didn't have the final ball, and that happens. He's a young kid. As soon as we took him off, we had even less because we had nobody to kind of trust him because Kulu is not fast enough. And he's wrong-footed on that side, so he has to cut inside, and it takes too long for Kulu to do what Johnson can do. The same thing. What we need in that game is a quick go to the byline, cut it back, and pray. That's what we needed, and we weren't able to do it effectively. And City were incredibly proficient in just killing any sort of attacking ideas we have, because centrally we were overcrowded, and in the width we had absolutely nobody. Our wingers were fullbacks that game, and our fullbacks were just trying to keep up with their midfield, their incredible box midfield, because it was so crowded, and Kulu was double teamed. He had no way to kind of get out of it creatively or whatever. It was a lot of running from us, and they completely killed us. It was a defensively incredible performance, but again, offensively, I don't think they were great either, which is where the frustration comes from, because their goal was dodgy, and they kind of got it out of nothing. We didn't deserve to score either, but neither did they, and that's where the frustration kind of comes from.
I feel your pain, Arian, and I think, hundreds of thousands of Spurs fans around the world were really hyped up for this one, and I really feel bad for the ones that were at the stadium today because they've all been pumped up for this one all week. They've gone there at 8 o'clock on a Friday night after work, absolutely buzzing, and to go out like that, I use the word pathetic because of the lack of creation that we had. Maybe I'm being a bit too harsh, but that's just the way I feel, Arian. Just before we go, I'd like to get your thoughts on Ange and the subs. Did he make the subs at the right time, and how would you assess Ange's performance today?
I'm simply not. I think it's kind of. I think of all the things you can look at tonight, the kind of the game management of the subs is not anywhere near the top of my list. Look, he brought on Skip, he brought on Madison, he brought on Scarlett. And that was it, right? And I guess you could have brought on. What do we have, right? I mean, I can sit here and I can say, hey, why didn't Pep brought on Doku, De Bruyne, and Grealish or something? What was it? Doku, De Bruyne, and Grealish, I think. Or who did he bring? I think he brought. Well, just Doku and De Bruyne. Forget Grealish.
Doku
I don't know.
Grealish. Doku and De Bruyne. Sorry, yeah.
Doku and De Bruyne. That is a freaking £300 million substitution right there. Right there. Yep. We had Madison and Skip and Scarlett, 2 academy boys and a 40 million signing. I mean, you can't compare. I could pick on Aaron and say, why didn't he do this, that, and the other? But I can't, because what he has available to him versus what Pep has available to him is in a different stratosphere. So I'm not going to sit here and say Ange's game manager was what went wrong. That's not what went wrong. I don't think City have anyone unavailable from AFCON and Asian Cup. I don't think there's a single player that they're missing right now. Because of that, they're only missing Holland due to injury. We have 3 very key players, Son, Sar, and Bissouma, missing for international duty. And we have some injuries which aren't as significant as they were a little bit ago. But Madison is still, I consider him a miss because of injury, because if he starts, it's a different story. And he's also not fully fit. So those are some pretty big misses. And City have one pretty big miss, but ended up, and that miss was what costed them so many goals, but they got it anyway. But we are missing way too much. We do not have enough resources. We're in this first stage of the rebuild. We've had 1.5 transfer windows. I mean, there's just no reason to look at Ange's game manager right now and pick it apart, because he doesn't have. It's like a construction worker, right? Needing to screw a screw, and he uses the back of his hammer, and you're like, well, why don't you use a flathead screwdriver instead of a Phillips head? He doesn't have a Phillips head. He has a hammer and a flathead. He has to pick something, right? So that's it. That's all I can say. I'm not going to pick him up. Of all the people to pick apart right now, Ange is just not on my list.
No, I hear you, Arian. I hear you. My only, little response to that would be that I kind of felt like Madison needed to come on, at half time where we really needed to make a change. But even that, I think I'm nitpicking there because we
Yeah,
all know he's been out for 3 months and
right,
he's obviously not match fit. He's
right,
obviously not, ready to for the pace of the game.
right.
Um, and
And
yeah,
how many fouls
you're
did they
spot
have
on.
on his ankle? Imagine that.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And right, if he gets injured, we're all going absolutely nuts, right? That he's put him on.
Yep.
So I think you're spot on in your analysis. And me and Josh said it before the game as well. We looked at those two benches, we saw what they had. You look at who's on our bench. With all due respect to Santiago, Gil, and these guys, it's not Doku, KDB, and Jack Grealish, is it,
I'll
Arian?
be honest. I don't think half our fans could point to Santiago in a room of 5 random people.
Yep,
That's what it is, right?
that's the truth of it.
Um, yeah. So, and that's what we have to deal with. That's what Angela's deal with. But luckily, 4-year contract, and we have plenty of time to go. Right.
Yeah,
That's all
we
I can
do.
say. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Oh,
do.
that's all I can say.
No,
Yep.
and listen, thanks a million for coming on, Ariane, and sharing your views. I know it's been a frustrating evening, but I hear some positivity coming out of you, and we move on. We got
Yeah.
Brentford in the middle of the week. Can we get a win over there and bounce back straight
Oh, of
away?
course. Oh, of course.
Come on,
No, we're winning. We're winning Brentford. I mean, come on.
come
That's
on,
a different. Our level is up there. I'm worried about Man City. I'm not worried about Brentford. We're gonna win that game. It's at home. There's gonna be a reaction. I'm 100% positive. I'm
come on.
100%.
Come on,
100%.
Ariane. That's what I want to hear, my brother. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I want to hear. And thanks a million for calling in. And look, don't let Spurs ruin your weekend. You got a long weekend ahead of you there. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Go off and
Yep.
enjoy it, Ariane. Have a good one. And
You too. Everybody else watching.
sure we'll see you on here soon again, hopefully. Hopefully after the
Yep.
Brentford match and a nice win, like you
Hopefully.
said.
Hopefully.
Come on.
And as always, come on, you Spurs!